Greetings, everyone. I just want to thank y'all for everything and thank y'all for joining. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, testimony time. Oh, yeah. So I'm big on praying, plowing, and I'm big on, repenting. I'm not better than the next person. I'm not claiming to be better than the next person. But, I have a conviction within self that is always activated. So when I'm doing wrong, I know who to return to when I'm making my mistakes. And that's my Creator above. I'm making this video today because one of my brothers that I truly care about, he shared with me that, my testimony is pretty powerful, right? And I told him, I really didn't want to share it, but he shared it with me because he knows that there's a lot of people that are going through things in this life that we're living in, and, they deserve to hear, what another person's enduring. So I'm going to start. I moved here to this country, right, where I used to live in Germany, and everything was already like paved, you know what I mean? Free healthcare. They take care of you after you finish school. They pay you to go through job school, you know what I mean, like trade school and stuff like that, for you to prepare yourself for the work field. They pay you for that, free. And even going to school, they prepare you for everything. Even at the age of 18 to like 26, you have to do like mandatory like military services and stuff like that. So, everything is made and created to where you're going to succeed. So moving to the United States at, age 17, it was a challenge moving here to the United States because there were no resources. And that's when, the internet first came about. And, I was never tech savvy at that point. But as life progressed, moving here, lived in Delaware for a bit, lived in Maryland, stayed in New York, Brooklyn, New York, and then moved back to Maryland. And being a military brat, we were kind of like spoiled in a sense, but we had village, you know what I'm saying? So everybody, interacted with everybody on the military basis. And, going into civilian life, it got really, really hard because we had different forms of accessibility, living the military life. So moving here, didn't know my biological father, or whatever the case may be, until I was like 25. I just knew my brothers. But long story short, we moved here, and I ended up being the sole provider for my mom and my youngest brother, because my stepfather at the time and my mom, they didn't make it, and I'm not pointing fingers at nobody, but things happen in life, you know what I mean? People split up. The younger me would have been mad at one of the people, you know what I mean? But the mature me now is looking at life in a different perspective. So, I can't really judge a person upon their actions because I don't know what's going on in their mind. I don't know what they're going through, you know what I mean? But long story short, I was like 24 years old, taking care of my youngest brother and my mom, full time. And I raised my brother from the time he started middle school to the time he graduated high school. I was the sole provider for him. And my mom at the time, she had a heart attack. And that's the reason why we moved here to the United States. After a while, my mom started working, but I was working 2 full-time jobs, 80-hour weeks. So, I was working at a youth center, working, 12 to 8. And then I was working at night doing loss prevention, 9 to 5:30 in the morning. Did that for like a long time. And it really took a toll on my body working those type of hours for a long period of time and not really getting the rest. And then, you priding yourself on your own strength. So long story short, you know what I mean? Like, you think you know best. you're out here young, you're fit, and you're out here in the street, doing things that you're not really supposed to be doing. You know what I mean? I was partying a lot, and shouldn't have been, but I wasn't doing anything like crazy reckless. But it was reckless now that I look at it, right? Not getting the proper amount of sleep. So long story short, broke my leg playing basketball. 45-degree angle, popped it back into place, right? When I popped my leg back into place, I was out of work for like a year, and then I bounced back, right? And long story short, when I bounced back, it took like a year and a half to get, to bounce back. Didn't play ball the way I was supposed to, but I could. So shortly after that, I was going through, like this situation at work where, because I was renewed, and I was going through an awakening process, where, my faith, led me in a different direction, where it basically showed and people didn't like the person that I was becoming. And it was getting hard at work because, I was very empathetic at work, and that didn't work in my favor. So, living in Maryland was challenging and still is, you know what I'm saying? Long story short, I basically got injured again. I was in a car accident, and I hurt the same knee, and I ended up having to get surgery, and I, had a herniated slip disc, L4, L5. So I hurt my back, and, I was out of work. I barely could walk at the time. And then I had my son, right? Isaiah, Yeshayahu. And he, as a first-time dad, I wanted to, be married to the person that I had, my son with. And, I wasn't, very well educated on dealing with postpartum, living with a person. So, me and mom at the time, we did our best to basically take care of our child. And we were doing good in the beginning. And then, somehow, some way, I kind of like messed up because I was in my head, right? Wanting to do better, but not having, opportunity to work because I was really wasn't working. I was just taking care of my son. And I'm not blaming anybody but myself for this, right? So, couldn't work, couldn't walk really because my back was hurt. It was in pain. I remember, them giving me medication for the first time, pain management. And I took one pill, which I don't recommend to anybody, you know what I mean? And my body had an adverse reaction to it. So long story short, I couldn't take the medication, and I had to ride out the pain and basically go to therapy and just ride it all the way out with no pain medication. You know what I mean? And our body can endure. You know what I mean? So when we're in pain, our body can endure. You know what I mean? So for those people that don't understand, it's all in the mind. Yeah, you need something to calm it down, but, narcotics, you got to be very, very careful, you know what I mean, because they're highly addictive. So as time progressed, me and mom, we had to move out of the place that we were living in, and I ended up, because I was not in the position to work the way that I was supposed to, we were forced to move back in with our parents, which kind of sucked. So, time lingered, time moved on, and, my life was not in order, you know what I'm saying? And mom was always working. She did her best to uphold, and I'm like trying to find jobs and, positions and, opportunities for me to hustle. And it was just really hard for me to, get jobs, you know what I'm saying, the way that I wanted to. Because of the injury that, I received. So what happened was, I was bouncing job to job to job, you know what I mean? And it wasn't easy. It was definitely not easy. But, self-perseverance, right? And, a lot of naysayers too. And one thing I learned out of that situation was, you can't share everything with everybody, not your plans, not your goals, you know what I mean? And all these things and above, because when you share something with somebody, they now have input, you know what I mean? And they can speak life over your life or death over your life. Not sitting here saying that everybody's evil out here, but, people just speak and gossip over our lives. So we got to be very mindful on who we share things with, because, monitoring spirits do exist. So, life progressed. And me and mom, we ended up, working it back out to where we started living with one another again. And I was still having the same challenge with, employment. Went to school for IT, graduated with my associates. I wanted to continue. In 2007, when I got injured, that's when I should have really went back and went to school when I was about 27. And that was around the same time frame that I met my biological father. Found out I had two sisters. But that's nevertheless, that doesn't even matter, right? So fast forward, me and mom moved in. I was still having challenges with employment and stuff like that. And, as the melanated man, you want to be the provider and the protector, right? And, you want to make sure that you're, bringing things to the forefront. And, my faith was within myself. It wasn't on my creator. I was living off of fate basis, not faith basis. And it showed within my works. So, mom was doing everything that she was supposed to be doing, as a woman should, and I respect her for that, and she still stood by my side, I thank her for that, being my children's mother. And, we had, children, along the way. And, we finally decided on getting married and these things, got married. And we were still having challenges because, the opportunity of me working was just not there. And I kept on sharing things with people that I shouldn't have never shared with. I would get a job, and I would start a new job, and that job would dissolve. Like, it would just vanquish, And these were things happening right in front of my eyes because I was sharing with the wrong people what my progress was. So long story short, fast forward, me and mom didn't make it, during the pandemic, 30% increased divorces. And, it was a worldwide thing. So I can't really blame myself or her, for anything because, things happen in life. You know what I'm saying? Just like, my parents didn't make it, just like my stepfather and my mom didn't make it. But that's neither there or here. You know what I mean? That's none of my business. You know what I mean? And that's none of y'all's business why me and my children's mother didn't make it either. You know what I'm saying? Just like it's not my business what you guys do in y'all's relationships. I'm only accountable for myself, right? And, and for anybody that I've hurt throughout this process of life, please forgive me because I'm not perfect. I do my best to be brave at being positive. And that's all I can do. I said be brave at being positive, not perfect at being positive. So, continue, right? So, we basically, did our best to get, things going. And fast forward, me and mom didn't make it. And I had a condo. And the condo, it got flooded through from the upstairs neighbor. There was an unattended, child upstairs, flooded the bathroom, toilets, bathtubs, and sinks in both bathrooms right above in a duplex building, and got so bad that there was a pipe leakage too, where my apartment in the middle, the top, and the bottom neighbor, his condo was flooded through completely to where the ceiling dropped. And basically, man, I didn't have a bathroom for like 5 months with 4 kids in the house, single parent right now, right? My kids go to me during the week, and my children go to their moms during during the weekend. So long story short, we basically had legal joint custody, and we had to do what we had to do. And long story short, there was somebody that just, walked over here to go fishing down here. So I had to move. And I didn't want to, share my whole entire business with everybody, but I wanted to continue with the testimony. But it wasn't easy, right? So me and my children didn't have bathrooms for like 5 months. During this 5-month process, we basically were going to the bathroom adjacent to my mom's house. And she lived in Unit H. We lived in Unit G. And me and my oldest son, we were just basically still staying in Unit G. And in the middle of the night, if we had to utilize, we would just travel back and forth to both apartments. Meanwhile, my 9-year-old, Zion, my 11-year-old, Nyla, and my 12-year-old, soon to be, and then my 12-year-old, Naraya, were staying at my mom's. So there was a war going on between the landlords, the homeowners association, and the renters insurances, as well as the renters, the tenants. And 5 months I didn't have a place. It got so bad that my condo molded bad because it was sitting in mold. And 90% of my belongings, I had to give away about 50% of it. No thought. And then about 40% was damaged, which I had to get rid of. I told myself that the belongings that I do have, I'm not going to get a storage facility. I said, and this is the message that I received, that it doesn't make any sense to go get a storage facility when I don't even know where I'm moving. So I was being faithful to give away my belongings to somebody that actually needed, the stuff right now. Because if it was meant for me to have, I would have kept it. But I was obedient and I gave everything away. Why? It's not mine. It was never mine to be, to receive. So I kept everything that I needed to. I grabbed about 6 bins, 3 mattresses, including mine, and my bed, and my children's clothes and my clothes. Long story short, everything else gone. No storage facility. I told myself I refuse to pay a bill to basically make somebody else rich when I could just give that away to somebody that actually needs these belongings. So I gave away a lot of stuff. Not that it matters, right? I'm not bragging here right now. This is not for bragging purposes. This is not for, me tooting my horn. This is not what this is about right now. So for anybody that knows me, they should know that, I'm not here gloating or anything like that. I'm not boastful. I'm not braggadocious. You know what I'm saying? I'm being humble and I'm being genuine. And I hope that, this message receives those individuals that it needs to be received by, because, it's not easy out here. And my situation was created for me because that's what I was able to endure, right? But whatever it is that we go through is meant for us to go through, and how we get through it is how we will be rewarded for it, right? So, I gave away all these things, so I ended up moving in with my mom in a 2-bedroom condo with 4 beautiful kids, right? I know people go through worse, and some people were, homeless. On paper, technically, I would have been homeless if, my mom wouldn't have never been there. But we weren't. But we may as well have been, because we had no privacy. We had abided by, my mother's rules, rightfully so, respectfully, righteously and respectfully. And we had to base things off of her beliefs, which was not the easiest thing for me to do, especially with my faith. And long story short, there were a lot of bumps and bruises along the way where mentally I was about to give up. And, I had to look in my children's faces, right? And show that I'm here to endure. And I'm watering this story down a little bit because, you know, I don't want nobody pointing fingers at nobody, because that's not what life is about. I'm pointing the fingers at myself. Because if I would have walked in complete obedience, these things probably would have never happened to me. Or it happened because I needed to know how to prepare myself for a situation like this in the future. You know, if the grid goes out, which is very possible. And also showing me that materialism is just exactly what it just is. Wealth is my family. You know what I'm saying? Wealth is my family, not an item that expires, right? I could have easily been a parent to see my children from the distance, but I chose to be there for them, and I chose family over money because the wealth within that was greater, and the sacrifice for building my children up in that sense was greater than making money. Because I know what it's like not to have a parent, especially being, you know, a fatherless child by his biological father. And by the way, I found that out when I was 15 years old. My mom was trying to protect me. You know what I mean? Like she tried to protect me and basically told me that, you know, my stepfather was my biological father. And, you know, that right there, you know, caused a little bit of ripple effects in my life. But, you know, I forgive. You know what I mean? I forgive and I forgive and I forgive. And I love, you know? But yeah, three mattresses, 4 kids, two rooms. You know what I mean? And there was another bed in the house. My mom had a bed. It was tight. And my kids had to sleep on the floor because that's what they chose to do, on those mattresses. Judge me if you want, but I chose to stand by my children. And I chose to ride it out. And I was praying. And I was rejoicing throughout that process, asking my Father, my Creator, to make sure that He takes care of all of my needs. Because going through all of that, man, like it really challenged me in a different way. And, you know, I'm holding back my tears right now because, you know, to think about it, it wasn't easy. And I know it wasn't easy for my mom. And I thank my mom for everything that she's done for me. All right? Again, I really didn't want to do this video. But we got through it. And it wasn't easy. But we persevered. We endured, and He made a way. And these squirrels are so close. They will walk up to you. You can feed them. And they'll walk up to you and wait for you to give them, like, you know, peanuts or, you know, any type of nut that is. Pause. But they'll just wait. They'll wait for you to feed them, which is crazy. They're all over the place. And they got black ones over there too. If you look straight ahead, there's a black one. But see how close they are? But yeah, man, I endured. We endured. My kids endured. And my kids would look at me, man, like, yo, Dad, what's up with your parenting? Man, talk about feeling hopeless. But man, when I tell you, man, my Creator looked out, man. So I was waiting for this condo to come through. 3-bedroom, right? That's what I needed. Because I got 2 boys, 2 girls, right? But I got an older son. I call him son. He calls me dad. He's my bonus son, and I love him as my own. And I've raised him like my own. I still love him too, and he knows that I do. And long story short, like, I got the place. I moved into the place. I'm in the process of, like, still blessing it and everything. And you know, I stayed diligent with my prayers and vigilant with my prayers. And even on my days where I was feeling like, when I was down to my last, you know, I always look back up, and I kept on reminding myself, be brave at being positive. Be brave at being positive. Be brave at being positive. And it was hard, man, you know what I mean? Because, you know, I didn't want to look like a failure in front of my kids. And nobody wants to look like a failure in front of their kids. You know what I mean? It's one thing to, you know, be fatherless, whatever, you know what I mean? But looking at your kids and you're living under those type of conditions, it's tough. You know, and working with them, being there for them, like, it's so amazing just watching your children just grow up, right? And making sure that they have everything that they need. Not what they want, but what they need. So when I got the place, you know what I mean? Like, I made 2 phone calls to 2 special individuals, 2 good friends of mine. And they looked out for me, you know what I mean? And they told me, hey, look. And I reached out to a couple people, actually, and didn't share with many people, but my whole entire security deposit was covered. Covered in full, 100%. I think I paid like $100 out of my own pocket, and the rest of it was covered. And I was blessed with furniture, you know, little nicks and knacks. Nothing crazy, but, you know, one of my best friends told me to create an Amazon housewarming registry. So that's what I did. And I was like, man, I don't feel like begging on social media or anything like that. So I don't want nobody feeling sorry for me. This is not a pity party right now, what I'm doing. I don't want no sorries. I don't want no pities, because I'm not a sorry person. You're not a sorry person. We're not sorry. We're going to be brave at being positive. So if you would like to be a blessing, right? That's entirely up to you. I'm not forcing you to do so. I'm going to add the link, you know what I mean, to the bottom of this video. And it's just an Amazon wish list. And, you know, whatever it is that's left over, I'm going to bless the next person with it, if I already have. But I'm going to post this video. Why? Because I'm just being obedient to what my friend said, because there are people out here right now, right, that are causing themselves self-harm, right, because they've given up hope. And I want to show them that if you have faith, not fakes, that He will provide. The breath of life will always provide. Always provide. And if you stay faithful, He will make a way. I'm not perfect again, but I'm doing my best. I want you guys to understand that I didn't make this video for charity. You know what I mean? I'm a hard worker, and I am a thankful and grateful father. And I'm just overjoyed, right? Rejoicing for allowed to be worthy to grow through my trials and tribulations, trials and tribulations, aka fire, to turn into gold and shine, and not into ashes and tarnish. And if there is something that you're going through, persevere, pray, and stay persistent, and treat people the way that you would love to be treated, with love and kindness. Love your neighbor as you love yourself. We're not perfect, but we could do our best to be brave at being positive. I don't want to learn to survive and do 360s anymore. I want to learn to live and do 180s. That is a choice. I hope and I pray, Palau, that this message receives you, and that this message will change your outlook with your mindset and the things that you speak into existence. Because what you speak into existence will come back to you. So if you're speaking negativity, that's what you're going to get. And if you're speaking negativity about people, that's what we're going to get. I'm not speaking negativity over you. So I hope that you're not speaking negativity over me, because I'm sending all that negativity back to you, because I don't want it. I reject it. I don't need it, because I want everybody to succeed. I created a video that's called Generational Gems, and it basically explains on how you can create a book for free. 30% for Amazon KDP, 70% for you. And that's just one variation of endless variations of how you can create your book. Very simple. I'm big on journaling, y'all. Stop with the stinking thinking. Stop being so hard on yourself. Be a warrior, right? And roar at the enemy. Roar at evil. Roar at those people that say no. Meaning, what you call it, that look at you as a failure, because you're not. Roar all day, every day with courage. Roar. Get through whatever struggles it is that you're going through. Do not allow yourself to be weakened by a circumstance and a situation. That's all it is. It's just a trial phase to see whether or not you're worthy for the next challenge in your life. But if you give up and speak negativity, you got to relive that same challenge in a different way. So it is up to you to not speak negativity all day. Bars. So I'm moving into my new place. All praises to the Most High. And I'm thankful and I'm grateful. And I'm going to continue being brave at being positive and roar at evil. And do my best, right? To love my neighbor as I love myself. And if you have any discord with me, pull me to the side. Let's settle this, right? Pull me to the side. And let's talk like adults. Because I'm not perfect. But I do my best. Right? We don't have to have discord. We don't have to have beef. We don't have to have drama. We don't have to have trauma. I'm over it. I love my peace. I hope you love your peace too. But whatever it is that you want to do, start writing it down and make sure it's according to His will. And He will provide. And I petition, decree, and declare, that two or more agree, so shall it be. So, as long as it's within His will, the breath of life will provide, always. Y'all be brave at being positive. Love your neighbor as you love yourself, righteously and respectfully. Roar!